Hey everybody, it is Hadley, and we are here for the conclusion to Shaman Walk Shaman Talk, and I am sad, Tracy. I'm super excited, but I'm sad that we're not going to be doing this. I know that Stephen and I have really enjoyed being part of this.
Yes.
Well, so have I, and I appreciate it so much. And maybe I'll come back and do some more again.
Ooh,
I want to say hello to you, Hadley and Stephen, and to Morgana, and to everybody that's listening, whether you're listening live or you're listening on a replay. It's been a really amazing experience to hear from all of you and to share this knowledge with you. And I am so excited to hear that it is impacting your life in a positive way. That's why we're doing this.
awesome. I'm trying to see if we have anybody in the chat yet, but I don't think that we do. So if we want to go ahead and get started, I'm sure they will pop on when they get a chance.
Yes, and you have a new format, so that could be, is that something that could be uh, affecting people?
It has we're we're live streaming on YouTube, so I'm telling everyone to go to YouTube. But instead of it posting to the Weird Realities Facebook, it's posting to my personal one. So that's the big hang up right now. Um, but hopefully it'll get itself worked out. So I'm gonna go in and share it.
Well, I want to just get started with kind of talking about what we've talked about over the last three sessions and kind of review what this has all been about. We started out just talking briefly about what shamanism is, what the shamanic culture is about, and well, I don't really like that word, but it's the only one we have
Right.
right now that people can kind of understand. We're really talking about ancient indigenous practices and ways of looking at our relationship with the world around us. And that includes not just what we see, but what is unseen, because we know we live in a world full of energy, electromagnetic fields, and various dimensional worlds that science is now coming out and saying, yeah, that's really true. Even though they cannot describe exactly what is taking place, the evidence of what is happening is being brought forth. So we're here to talk about some of these ancient practices. And I'm looking at my notes. The first episode, we talked a little bit about what right relationship is. And this is really the foundation of all shamanic living, is to create right relationship. It starts with self and what we call the medicine wheel of the heart. To get to know yourself, who you are, why you are the way you are, and to figure out your relationship with your pets that like to answer. Morgana's puppy wants to talk.
Yeah.
He's like, I have a relationship with these people.
Yes.
And that's it with our animal friends and plants, the stars in the sky, everything is something that we can relate to and form relationship with. So that's how we create a shamanic living style. And so we talked a little bit about looking for messages, greeting the day with a ceremony of self to show appreciation, gratitude, and awareness for what the day may bring to us. And we talked a little bit about some different cultural ceremonies, but really it's more important to create your own, to interact with the world around you, and to begin to trust that what you hear and feel and see in your mind, in your mind's eye, and then the world around you is really that relationship showing up. The second episode, we talked a lot about why self care and self healing are the first things that we do when we practice a shamanic lifestyle. And we've been taught that if we look inward too much, we're being selfish, that we should be giving everything away to other people, that this is how we make the world a better place. But in reality, what we are supposed to be doing is to live from the gift of energy that we have been given in the purest form. And that includes healing ourselves so that we can radiate that love and awareness out. And it's not really something we have to think about when we're in the state of self healing, which is a continuous state that we live in all the time. We are never healed, we are always healing. And so when we live in that state and we're aware of ourselves and how we can self heal, our energy naturally overflows. And the resonance of that assists others that are maybe their energy is low or they need a little help. They begin to get gravitated towards you. And likewise, if you feel a little low, sometimes that really good friend or that animal friend provides that extra little bit of energy because their cup is overflowing with love and abundance. In the third episode, we talked a lot about tools and how we can use certain tools, creating an altar, which is just a focal point. But it's a very rudimentary, primary practice for any shamanic cultures to have places, little small places where sacred items, power objects, or places for prayer or gathering are held. And it becomes a place where you can go and immediately your focus is drawn to those things and your subliminal mind registers all of this in the blink of an eye. And you don't have to sit and think through every item that you have. But that power that comes through those memories, that memory of energy in your medicine wheel of your heart, it's there for you. Having a sound tool, which we're going to use tonight to help us travel into dreamtime dimensions. It can be a rattle, it can be a drum, anything that creates a rhythm. And there's other sounds too, Tibetan bowls or chimes. It's good to have something that can be sustained for a long period of time, that your brainwave has an opportunity to entrain to. A lot of times we want to play too rhythmically, and the rhythm itself creates a focal point rather than the sound, the vibrational sound, creating an entrainment wave. So many times I'll attend sound healing sessions or different places around the world where I go. I like to go do that. But the practitioner's playing so quickly, our body doesn't have time to form that relationship. So if you have Tibetan bowls or chimes or bells or rattles, let yourself have time to connect to those sounds. Having a sacrament, a gift of gratitude to offer to the world whenever you receive that special message from the universe. It can be something like native cultures use here in North America, like tobacco, cornmeal. It can be bits of sage. It can be anything. I've used potpourri before. I've used rose petals from roses in my yard. They drop, I gather them, and then I use that for a sacrament. Anything that can be a blessing of gratitude. In that way, you are giving back. Every time that you receive something from the universe, you have something to give back, and that helps keep the relationship going. And what else do we talk about? Oh, sage, the use of sage and how to get to know sage. We don't just buy a stick of sage and light it. In shamanic practice, we understand to form that relationship will bring out the essence and the medicine of the plant in a better way, in a more useful way. We get to know it by ingesting it, smelling it, making a tincture, bathe in it, sleep with it under your bed, carry it with you in your car, create a relationship with it. But those are some of the things that we've talked about. We had some great questions from some of the listeners, some of the watchers. I hope that you'll be sending some questions tonight. We're going to do a very exciting thing tonight, and I'm going to take you on a guided shamanic journey. And if you've never done one of these, it's going to be really fun for you. I think it'll be eye-opening. If you have done these before, then you'll be very practiced, and this will be a good way for you to visit your helpers in dream time and maybe get a message you weren't expecting tonight. Before we start on that, I wanted to talk a little bit about what the shamanic journey actually is, what it can be used for, The types of skills that we have when we become dream walkers are those who walk through dream time, and how these intentional altered states of consciousness are created without the use of plant medicine, and why that's a good thing, why it's a helpful thing. And then we'll take our journey. So, are we ready to start, or does anyone have a question about anything that we've talked about?
No. Good.
Or, well, I'm ready to, and I'm a teacher, so I'm always ready to teach. So, the first thing we want to talk about is what is the shamanic journey? It's similar to other things that we do to go inside ourselves, into our inner universe. It's where we start our journey. Now, there's other things that are very similar to this. Our nighttime dreams, for instance. We all try to have dreams at night, and we like to have dreams at night if they're good ones. And we don't really have much control over that unless you're a very skilled practitioner of lucid dreaming, which you can learn. You can learn how to dream something that you intentionally set ahead of time. You can learn how to know that you're dreaming, and you can learn how to act in any way you wish in your dream. It's a skill, but in dream time, usually when we go to sleep, our body is resting, our brain takes a break, but our consciousness is still doing things. And I think some of the people who listen to this show and watch this series probably do things in their dream time state and wake up and think, wow, I worked really hard last night. Especially now when we're in such a state, or we always feel like every civilization feels like we're in the worst state that's ever been in the history of the world. It's all going to just blow up. But we are in a state of great strife throughout the world. And we can see this with all of the wars, and wars never solved anything. But we continue as humanity to have this. So we feel in strife, and many of us are working in our dream time states. Our consciousness are going out, helping find peace, helping to reach for healing, helping to be a warrior of light, meaning we are not warring for peace, we are being peaceful for peace and spreading that light. So that is one state of altered consciousness, but we don't have really much control of it once we go to sleep. Another thing that we can do is daydream. I know everybody's had daydreams. I daydream sometimes driving the car. I'm driving, and next thing I know, I'm somewhere else and didn't even remember how I got there, really, because I'm thinking about something else. That's an altered state of consciousness. That's a different brainwave level. We're usually taking ourselves into the past or into the future when we daydream. We're either thinking over something and ruminating about what happened and why we should have done it differently, or wish we could have done it differently, or we're thinking ahead to something that we're worried about, or we're trying to plan for, or we're creating a fantasy of something that we really wish would happen, but don't really think probably it will. But it's nice to think about. Also, there's prayer time. Oftentimes we pray. Prayer means different things to different people. And meditation, where we purposely sit still and we close our eyes and we go inside to connect with the inner universe, or to connect with ourselves. I've heard it said, and I like this particular definition, that that prayer is when we are speaking to God, talking to God, asking for things, and meditation is when we're listening to God and receiving. And those are all wonderful altered states, but they are not the same as what happens with shamanic journey. So what the indigenous people realized is they could go into a state where they were neither in space or time, and it's called the all time, no time. And in that place, they were able to see and understand things that they could not do in the 3D world. This was helpful for many reasons. Suppose a tribe was looking to track the reindeer in Tibet, the Tibetan area, or Lapland. They're looking for the reindeer so that they can have food, shelter. It's disappeared. They can't find it. The medicine people go into dream time, and suddenly they see the spirit of reindeer because they have relationship with that. Reindeer says, "Come this way, travel for one day, turn here, you will see us, and we offer our blessings to you, to feed you, to clothe you." There is the same sort of relationship with plant medicine, plant spirits. Someone's sick, the medicine person journeys. They're told which plant is going to help. They learn how to create relationship, how to create the right type of medicine or tonic. So those were ancient practices, and they've been brought forward through many, many, many hundreds of thousands of years. Shamanism is the oldest spiritual practice on the earth. So it goes back to the beginning of mankind. And we can still use these gifts and practices today. How do we learn how to journey, and why would a modern person need to? We know where the grocery stores are. Most of us have a house if we're lucky. Most of us live in a society where we have awareness of very many things that we can put our hands on at any time. Why would we need to be able to journey? The most important reason, I think, is to get to know oneself on a level that cannot be done in this way or in any other way. Not even in meditation can you do what you do in the shamanic journey or the dream time. It's a state of consciousness that can be achieved through something that we call riding the drum or sonic driving. And when we ride the sound of the drum, we're going to do this later, we actually the brain actually naturally entrains to a specific drum beat at a certain speed. And it allows it to jump into that dimension of dreamtime space. And I know it sounds kind of crazy, but this is how it works. The one thing I want to say to everyone listening is if you're driving, don't do this while you're driving. When we start doing the actual thing, pull over or save this and listen to it later. Listening to this drum and listening to this guided meditation, you can go into a dreamtime state. One of the beautiful things about riding the drum is that we don't need a plant medicine to alter our state of consciousness. There are many plant medicines. We discussed that in a couple of different episodes. They have various purposes, but for what we are talking about, we want to be in control. We want to be conscious. We want to be aware. We want to be able to ask questions. We want to be able to discern what's happening, to make decisions. Do we want to see this? Do we not want to see this? Do we want to go somewhere else? Who do we want to speak to? And you can't do that when you're under the influence of a plant medicine, because you're trusting that plant medicine to tell you what you need to know. We're going to learn a few really small steps. I'm not going to take you through an entire series of learning shamanic journey. I give workshops in this, and it takes a whole day to learn the bare minimum basics and a couple of days to really get it down and get the idea going. But I will start a drum, and you will intentionally, with your imagination to start with, do what I'm asking you to do. I'll say, travel here, imagine this, visualize this. Why would we need to visualize if we're on a journey? Well, interestingly, the place in our brain where imagination lights up is right next to the place that lights up in dream time. It's very easy to get from one to the other. And I've heard it said through some writings that I can't remember now who said it. It might have been Neville Goddard or one of the early philosophers of the 20th century, said that imagination is actually God inside of us, because it's the creator force. Your imagination is what creates. And without imagination, we wouldn't have anything in our world. It had to be imagined, had to be dreamed into being. So use your imagination. Don't question it. it's sort of a chicken and egg thing. I have students who'll say, well, I was doing the shamanic journey, but I kept thinking I was making everything up. Who cares? Why would you make that up? Isn't that a question? It's just let yourself make it up and then go, well, that's interesting. I wonder why I picked that to make up. You're in charge in this process. And knowing yourself and finding out answers about yourself is what it's all about. When you learn this process, you can find self-healing. You can find lost items sometimes. I found things I've been looking for by doing a journey. You can find help for family situations. You can find healing for things that happened to you years ago, or maybe even in childhood. Through shamanic journeying, I'm able to help many people with something called soul loss. And we do a process called soul retrieval, but we have to travel into dream time to find those answers. And it's an amazing process. So what I'd really like to do is start out, give you some little small steps that we're going to do. Then let's go through the steps a little bit. Then we're going to practice the journey. And the rest of the time, we're just going to talk about what happens, what did it mean, how to analyze what took place in your journey, how to bring meaning to it, and how can you repeat this for yourself. And if you want to learn more about it, how can we do that? What are some resources? All right. Questions for anybody before we start? Okay, the first thing that I like to do with students, because I want you to understand completely that you are in charge and you are in charge of your own good medicine wheel. I think last time, you guys remind me, I think last time, did I take you through the process of finding the medicine wheel of your heart?
You did.
We drop down through our body and we land in the heart and we look and we see the light around. We're going to do that again. And then I will bring us back into this awareness, and then we'll talk about the next step. But whenever we start the shamanic journey, I'm going to give you time to do that because it will be from that spot that we depart and go into dream time. So let's just start by taking some deep breaths. And when you breathe, I want you to breathe through your nose, deeply through your body, into your stomach, like you're blowing your stomach up like a big balloon. So let's breathe in deeply. Blow your stomach up, hold it for a second or two, and then let that air out. Make it make a sound like you're blowing a candle out. Do that again very deeply. Hold it. And just relax. You can feel sort of the day draining away when you do that. Let's do that one more time. Very good. And just close your eyes and breathe normally. And I want you to look behind your eyelids. You may see darkness. You may see flickers of light. You may see shapes or shadows. Some of you may see colors. Whatever you see is perfectly fine. Just focus there for a moment and watch and enjoy watching. And now I want you to try to bring your eyes behind your eyelids to one spot, as if you're looking right behind your eyelids at one spot. And try to hold that focus. You could feel a little cross-eyed. That's okay. Just try to hold that focus and breathe normally. Now with me, take a deep breath in. Keep the focus. And exhale gently. Keeping the focus behind your eyes. Drop that focus down through your body like it's descending on an elevator. And you're gently landing right in your heart space. You are now inside your own heart space. And with your spiritual eyes, I'd like you to look down and imagine you can see your feet. And just notice, are they barefoot? Are you wearing any shoes, socks? Give your toes a wiggle and watch. Watch your own feet and just observe. And now look away from your feet a foot or two out, and you're going to see you're standing in a circle or a wheel of some type. And just notice what it is. What is that wheel or circle made of? What color is it? No judgments, just observing. And as you watch the edge of that circle, I want you to look closely. You're going to see a very beautiful light begin to glow around the edges of your circle, and that glow is getting brighter and it's rising up higher. And it's enveloping you over the top of your head and below your feet and below the wheel that you're standing in, like a big bubble. And you are now inside the luminous light body of your own soul. This is your sacred space, the medicine wheel of your heart. And while you're here, I want you to mentally make a statement or prayer for yourself that says something along these lines. I'm so grateful for this sacred space. This is the place I am protected. This is the place that I'm secure. Nothing dangerous, no low energy, no negative energy is allowed in my sacred space. And I say it, and it is so. Just make that statement for yourself. And now for the rest of the evening, you're going to be in that sacred space. And whenever you're ready, you can gently open your eyes and come back into our online classroom. And I would like to ask, before we go further, if any of our hosts would like to share what you envision in the medicine wheel of your heart. What did your feet look like? What does your wheel look like?
Okay.
Anybody?
I'll go.
Yeah, it can feel kind of like, I don't want to tell people, but yeah, Hadley, tell me, what were you able to see your feet?
I was, and they were like in, like ballet slippers. You know what I
No,
mean? Like the
yeah,
little slip on, they're kind of like socks, but not socks, but they're not shoes. So they were like kind of in those. And there was, it's, those little white shells at the beach?
yeah.
That was what the circle was made out of this time.
Interesting.
And the bubble was it was clear, but it was like shades of pastel pink and peach and a glowing white and like a little evanescent green.
That sounds so beautiful. Almost like you're in a real bubble. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I saw it. That's what I saw. So
well, that's wonderful. Now, how do we bring meaning to our vision, and why would this be something that you would see? Well, this is the whole essence of what shamanic journey is about. It's up to you to bring the meaning. And yes, there are many resources that you can look up online. And this is fun to do, by the way. Look up online, what does it mean to dream about shells?
yeah, I've already got my little notebook out, and so I've got the shells. That was interesting. And then, like I said, the
What does shells mean?
yeah. Well, I haven't looked it up yet, but I'm going to when we
Okay,
get
so
get off
you
the
look
call.
that up. and we're going to come back to you because I think I have an idea. White shells obviously are purity, innocence. White is the color of, you know, pureness, childhood, innocence, beginnings, etc. Shells are also very, you know, they're mobile homes. They're safe havens that you can retreat to, and they're very beautiful homes. So you were surrounded by these beautiful mobile homes, you know. So perhaps you're going to be taking a journey, a real journey. Stephen, what was your wheel like? What was your? Did you see your feet?
Uh, it took longer to get there this time. I'm not sure why, but it's. I was able to see my feet, uh, but it took longer for me to be able to see what was around me than
That
uh, than
sometimes.
it than it did the last time. The last time I was able to see the golden floor there. You know, so it was
Well,
and that's kind of what it was. I'm sorry.
I said it can change too. Don't worry if any of you are listening. If you did this with us last time and it changed, don't worry about that. It
Yeah,
shows where you are right now.
it wasn't as bright of a golden color this time. It was still to me a kind of a golden tint, but it wasn't as pronounced as it came up. You know, I was able to see that more, but
But how did
it,
it feel?
it felt good. So
Yeah, and look, some people are more prone to in dream time. It's not really what they see; it's how they're feeling or what the awareness is. Like you might know you're standing in a golden bubble, but you're not really seeing it, but you know it's
right,
there.
right,
And that's just different people have different ways of recognizing energy. And I often do that too. Sometimes I will know something, and then it comes into view. It's kind of a backwards way of doing it. So at this stage, try not to judge anything or thinking, well, that's not really good, or maybe I shouldn't have done it that way. Let everything happen. Be open to everything. Great, Morgana. Did you have an experience with your medicine wheel?
Yes, I'm I'm barefooted, and it's like worn wood on the bottom, and they're like iridescent symbols all underneath. I can hear and smell salt water, and I know a lot of times that's where I tend to go when I need to get away. You know, that's probably my safe space, is that seawater and everything. But I saw some of the iridescent symbols before, but I think it was so random. I think it's started to solidify a little bit more this time. Not enough for me to really say that's definitely what it is, but I feel like I'm getting more of a sense of what's supposed to be there.
Wonderful. And again, you know, these things can change, but over time, what usually happens is you get very familiar with what your wheel usually looks like. It usually presents a certain way. Maybe it's a little different here or there. Like, for instance, when I go to the medicine wheel, my heart is actually a medicine wheel. So it's like four directions, certain colors. It appears a certain way. I see my feet. It's kind of very repetitive. But occasionally, right outside the wheel, there may be something different. Or sometimes it'll feel cold, or sometimes it'll feel warm, or sometimes it'll be bright, sometimes it'll be dark, that kind of thing. But when you do this enough, your relationship with yourself will give you what the safe zone looks like so that you know where it is. And you can always find it doing the same thing that all shamanic medicine people throughout the world for thousands of years have done. To find center, they put their hand right here, right in the center. If you close your eyes and do that, your awareness goes right there. So that's a great way to ground yourself. All right, wonderful. Well, we've got a few things. I don't know if anybody's in the chat wants to share their what their medicine wheel was or ask a question while we're getting ready to take the journey, to get everybody ready to take our guided shamanic journey. I want to share a couple of things. This is a great book that I urge everybody to get. It's called Animal Speak by Ted Andrews. And Ted Andrews unfortunately passed away from this life, but this is sort of considered the Bible of how do you interpret what you see with animals. And he wrote another one called Nature Speaks. So if you go into dream time, you see a certain tree or grass or whatever, you kind of look it up. It tells you what the meaning is, what it can be interpreted as. And so dream time, to go into dream time and see a vision is one thing, but to bring meaning to it is something else. We don't often learn enough about that in workshops. We learn how to dream or how to take a journey, but how can we bring meaning and make it something that's important to us? So there's practice to that too. We're very lucky nowadays to be able to go on the internet and you just put in a search engine, what does it mean? Or let's say you see a lion in a journey, big lion. You could put in there, what does it mean to see a lion in a dream? You could say, what does the lion totem animal mean or power animal mean? Those are two terms that are often used in journey world. And it'll give you a whole list of things. Different websites will have different versions, but there'll be some commonalities because we have a collective consciousness. People around the world recognize that lions are very regal, powerful beasts. They rule the jungle, so to speak. So they're associated with royalty and kingdom and power and protection and so forth. If you see an eagle flying, it's associated with high vision, right? And being able to see great distances, being very wise, and being able to protect oneself by knowing where everything is happening and I won't go here, I can see that's taking place, etc. But every animal and every plant has the same level of power in dream time. So if we go on a journey and you meet a mouse, don't be going, oh my gosh, I can't say I'm a mouse. Because mice are just as powerful as lions in dream time. And if you look up the power of mouse, the strengths of mouse, the characteristics of mouse, how you interpret it is, what has meaning for you is what you take and you leave the rest. You get to decide because you are bringing the meaning. Many times we journey, we see things that don't make sense, but they're either showing us who we are, the strengths and the characteristics that we have with the things that are taking place, or they're showing us what can help us. So again, you have to discern what is the meaning of the imagery. Now, the difficult part about journeying in the beginning is we tend to question the minute we see something, what does it mean? What does it mean? And we really have to make space to let go of that. You have to allow yourself to just witness as if you're watching a movie, and you're not going to know till it's over what it actually meant. Don't let yourself try to figure it out along the way because that stops the messages. You interrupt your own self doing that. Try to be like a reporter. You're going to go in, you're just going to, just the facts. Here, I saw a lion said this, lion looked like this. Observe, take notes in your mind, but don't try to go, well, I bet you lion's trying to tell me this or that. If lion wants you to know that, he'll tell you. All right, we're going to do a guided journey. We're going to start going to the medicine wheel of the heart. And from there, we're going to follow what I say, and I'm going to take you to different places. Before we go, I want you to think of a question. Think of a question that's been on your mind, something that you want to know about your life. something that maybe has been bothering you or that you need help with, or perhaps something that you're just curious about. And towards the end of the journey, we're going to meet a helper, and you're going to be able to ask that helper your question and just see what you get. But that's the intention. With this shamanic journey, we always have an intention of what we're doing. Now, our intention today is to follow what I'm guiding you with. But when we get to the end of it, I'll say, you ask your question, and then we get to see what happens. And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about things and see what took place. All right? All right. Does anybody need a break or anything before we start? It should only take about 10 minutes. Then we'll have the rest of the time to talk to everybody about it. So I'm going to start the drum. I'm using this Remo bass drum today because it has a really deep sound, and I think it'll come across. I tried it out with Hadley a minute ago. It came across really good, and I was still able to talk over it. But if you can hear me, let me know. So let's just try this out. Everybody hear that all right? And you can still hear me.
Yes.
Okay, that's the most important thing. All right, so the reason that I am drumming at this particular speed is this is the speed that's been known to entrain the brain, and we call that riding the drum. Michael Harner, great visionary and person who brought us the understanding of shamanic journey in the 20th century, anthropologist who discovered this through living with the Caniba tribe in South America, calls it sonic driving. But this particular beat, sustained, without rhythm, without a rhythm, just a sustained beat. This is what entrains the brain into dream time. So we're going to ride the drum into dream time. All right. I'd like everybody to close your eyes, get comfortable. I want you to just listen to the good medicine of this drum. Let those sounds move through your body, form relationship with you. I want you to take a couple of deep breaths, just like we did before. Breathe deeply into your stomach. All right, just breathe normally now, and I want you to focus behind your eyes. Find that space. Take a deep breath in. Gently exhale and ride that focal point down, down into your heart. Land on your medicine wheel. All right, now around the medicine wheel, you're seeing that beautiful glow of light, that beautiful golden or bubble of light forming around you, creating your sacred space. And with your own free will, you are saying you are safe, you are protected. Nothing negative, nothing low can enter or harm you. You are saying it, and it is so. And now, your bubble lifts off. We are lifting up and we are floating gently through space and time. And you can see outside of your bubble, but it's still there protecting you. And just take a look. What are you seeing outside your bubble as we float through space and time, gently moving? It's a wonderful feeling to be weightless, free of the world that we're leaving behind for a while, traveling the inner universe, the place of all time, no time. Now I want you to look downward or looking for something very special, we're looking for a door. And when you see the door, I want you to float your bubble down to the door. And you're going to land and take a good look at your door. Your door is right in front of you now. What does it look like? What's it made of? What kind of shape does it have? Is there a handle? Or a knob or a latch? And just observe the door. Now, on the count of 3, you and I are going to walk through that door together, and we are going to go to the other side of the door, and we're going to be landing in a beautiful field of tall, wavy grass. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. And we open the door, and we are in this magical place of tall, wavy grass, and the sky is so blue. It's the bluest blue. It's the perfect temperature. And the grass goes on into the horizon. And the wind gently blows across our skin and across the top of the grass, making it look like waves. And now we just walk. And I'm going to step right in front of you. You follow me. Moving through and running my hands over the top of the grass, and it's so soft. It's not hurting us or cutting us. And I'm looking for something very special, so I want you to just follow along as we walk through this beautiful tall green grass. And I'm listening, and I hear what I'm trying to hear. It's over towards the right, and we walk that way, and you can hear it now too. And it's a beautiful stream of water, a bubbling brook. And we come right to the banks of the brook, and it is crystal clear. Beautiful stones at the bottom, and the sun is glinting off the water, and we just walk along the banks, amazed at its beauty, and the sound is so amazing. Wind around the banks, stepping over a few branches here and there. Nothing too big. And now I'd like you to move in front of me. I'm going to let you take the lead. And we're walking along again, following the banks. And I want you to look up ahead because we're looking for something very special. We're looking for a bridge. Now you can see the bridge in the distance, and we slowly get closer and closer, and you see more details. Again, you're just going to notice, what does the bridge look like? And now we're here. Take a good look at your bridge. Is it big? Is it small? All right. We're going to cross the bridge together. So we step onto the bridge, and we're walking across the brook. We see it below us, sparkling. We reach the other side, and now we are at the edge of a beautiful evergreen forest. And we step into the forest, and it's so lovely here. It's cool, and the smells of the earth and the leaves are everywhere. And we walk slowly. It's very quiet here. And there's a little path that we're following through the woods. It curves and it winds, and you look up and the trees are so tall. You can see the light at the top peeking out through the branches. You can hear sounds of animals. We follow the footpath winding through the trees, and up ahead there seems to be a little bit of an opening, a meadow, and we go towards the meadow, and now right in front of us is the biggest tree you have ever seen. It's amazing, and it's all by itself in the middle of the meadow. What kind of tree is this? take a look at it. Feel the bark of the tree. You can feel it. You can smell it. And now we're going to do something magical, because in dream time we can do anything we want. We're going to climb the tree. And it doesn't matter how you do it. Moving up the tree, up, 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 all the way to the very top of the tree. And there's a little place there, like a little flat tree house, just for you. And you're sitting in the very tip top of the tree, and you're looking out in all directions. You can see mountains, you can see the horizon, you can see everywhere, and it's amazing. Just enjoy this view for a moment. I want you to look in the distance. Up in the sky, you can see something there. A little dot moving, and it's coming towards you. It's getting a little bigger. Oh, it's a bird. There's a bird coming towards you. And now that bird is flying overhead. It's making some circles over you, overhead. What type of bird is that? It's beautiful. And look, in its talons, there's something there. And you hold your hand out, and the bird flies right over your hand and drops it into your hand. Something just for you. You take it and look at it. Put it in your pocket. You thank the bird flies on, having done its job. And now it's time we come out of the tree, and you can decide how you want to leave the tree. You might climb down, you might fly down, you might slide down a beam pole. You come all the way down to the root of the tree. It's time that we come back the way we came. So we follow the footpath with our special gift from the bird in our pocket. Winding through the forest again, and then we see the opening, and there is our bridge, but there is someone at the bridge waiting for us. Take note, who is that? Is it a person? Is it an animal? Who is that? And as you gradually approach this special being, you realize this is who's going to help answer your question. So take a moment now, and whatever it was that you were asking, I want you to ask this beautiful being that has come to guide you. Ask your question. And listen closely. Now it's time we depart, so thank this beautiful being for being here and for helping you. Perhaps she'll come back and visit again, but for now we need to come back. So we cross the bridge, holding the gift in our pocket and the message in our heart. We follow along the brook. We look out in the grassy field and we see our door. We go to the door. On the count of 3, we come back through the door. 1, 2, 3. And we're safe and sound inside our bubble of light. We hold still for just a moment, letting all the energy return from dream time. And now, as you sit or lie down, wherever you may be, you can wiggle your fingers and your toes and remind yourself you're human in a human body on a Friday night on Weird Reality Network. And did we have a weird reality?
I had an incredible experience.
We'll just take a moment and let everyone come back, and then we'll have plenty of time. We'll talk about everybody's journey and maybe what your gift was, what your question was, if you want to share, and we'll kind of try to make sense of things.
Well, while we're waiting, I want to tell you, you had given me a little thing of sage,
Mm.
and I was going to burn it tonight. The whole thing has burned. Like whenever I would try and put it out, it was just crumbling into ash. So I feel like I was way out there with my sage experience.
Yeah, that kind of thing happens from time to time. Sage has a life of its own, and it will. When the energy is high, it burns fast.
Mm-hmm. It
And
sure did.
well,
The whole thing, I mean, I literally burned it before we got started, and it is already gone.
Well, I'm sure it did its job.
And the sage it's a different sage. I think it's the white sage that you gave me, and I just love the way it smells. The other kind of stops up my head, but this doesn't.
Yeah, there's different types of sage and purposes behind them.
So
Well,
white sage is on my list to look up too.
good, good, good. Well, let's start with, did everybody have an experience of some type? Was everybody able to see some of these things?
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody have nothing?
I think Morgana's still gone. Oh no, she's back. She's moving.
She's enjoying her mystical experience. I
Yeah.
can see it on her face. She's still contemplating what took place and making sense of it, which is great. For people that are listening or watching this on replay, I do occasionally have students who say, well, nothing happened. Nothing happened. Didn't see a thing, didn't think a thing, didn't go anywhere. And so, without minimizing those statements, what I'm going to say is that if that is really true, I would like to meet you, because you are one powerful Zen master, because it takes decades for people to get to the point where they don't see or experience anything ever. Most of the time when we say that, what we're doing is negating what we did experience. Maybe we experienced being in the dark and being afraid. Maybe we experienced thinking about work. Maybe we experienced thinking to ourselves, well, this is not really happening. I can't do this. Something was going on. Be patient with yourself. If you're not a good visualizer, like if I was describing something and you were like a door, I can't even see a door. There are actually exercises you can do to help yourself learn to visualize. What I tell people is make it up. If you had to make up a door to tell somebody that you saw, just describe it. That's the starting point. And how you chose to make it up is the same meaning as if you had seen it. So do not negate the imagination. But was everybody able to see a door to start with?
It took a minute, but I finally saw it.
Let's start there, because doors are doorways to dream time. And the human brain has a connection to thresholds and doorways. It's known that when we cross a threshold or go through a doorway, something happens inside our brain. Most of the time we forget what we're doing.
Right.
Why did I go in that room? But it's a literal thing that happens. There's a shift that takes place when we go through a doorway or cross a threshold. So what kind of door we see can tell us a lot about where our state of being is in the journey and in our life. So, Stephen, what kind of door did you see?
It was a dark color, made out of wood, and it had a handle instead of a doorknob. So, and it.
Well, as you're describing that, I'm seeing like a dark door, almost like a gothic-y sort of old-timey door,
Yeah,
like it's been put together with
made out
uh,
of wood.
maybe the wood was chopped from a tree and it was stuck together somehow with I don't know how they made doors, but
Yeah.
yeah, interesting. So your door was very solid.
Mm-hmm.
It was very grounding. Wooden doors are very grounding. And yeah, wonderful. So I would look up what does it mean to dream about a wooden door?
Okay.
And you could do that right now on your phone while I ask Morgana what kind of door she did. And then we'll come back and see what it meant. So Morgana, what kind of door did you see?
It was a wooden door. It was kind of rounded on top,
Mm-hmm.
and it had like the lintel stones around it.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of bands across it, and it was the handle that has like you push down and pull.
A latch.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. Nice. Again, wood, the stone border, right?
Mm-hmm.
The roundness is telling us that we're not having the sharp corners, right? That there's a little bit of feminine shape to that. Reception. Hadley, how about you? What was your door?
It was wooden, and it was like planks, and it was oval. It was oval shaped at the top. But for me, like where like your face would be, there's a metal guard, like where someone can look in and out.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I didn't really pay attention to the handle. It's the same door that I usually see when I journey with you. And it's like it's in the side of the earth or in a tree. And there's foliage and stuff around it, which I think it might have the stone border too. Again, I didn't notice it. I'm paying more attention to the foliage. And you're just ready to go through.
All three wooden doors. Who's looked up a wooden door?
I'm looking at it now.
What does it say if we dream about a wooden door?
Uh, New beginnings, basically, is what I'm getting from it. It's it could be something positive or something negative. So, but it's
Oh, I never heard of wooden door being negative. How?
that was one thing I read, but it also symbolizes between heaven and earth. So, and
The,
And
and
isn't
something.
that true, right? Without even knowing that, nobody front loaded you. You have a subconscious symbol of entering something new, which is new for you, and you're crossing between what can be called spiritually between heaven and earth. That's a cultural designation, but there are many layers in dream time in different cultures that we go through. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, and another thing I've read here is that it's also could be a magical gateway, and it determines if the dreamer has permission to advance or must remain stuck where they are for longer. So,
And you opened your door, so you
yeah,
obviously were able to go through.
yeah.
Now, if anybody's listening and you couldn't get past the door, that does happen occasionally when I do a guided journey. People are just, what it is you have an inner resistance. That's not good or bad. It's just you're maybe not ready, or you've got some inner fear. Maybe you've been taught you shouldn't do certain things and it's holding you back. You just play the way you need to. This is not a religious practice or anything. This is a way to understand oneself better. It's introspection and healing. So, all right. So some other symbols that we had, water, which symbolizes the emotions, the heart, and we had a bridge to cross that. And the reason we cross that is so we can get across whatever we need to get where we're going. We cross that. We see that this is a stable water. It's not a rushing river or rapids or anything like that. So, and we have a bridge, so this carries us across into dream time even further. Uh, who had a stone bridge? Anybody?
Sorry.
All right, so everybody have wooden bridges again.
I, I had a wooden
Y'all
bridge.
are not wooden people.
It was a bit of an arch, kind of went up a little bit. Wasn't flat.
Yeah,
Mine's a
yeah,
covered bridge.
a covered
Same.
bridge. Yeah, yeah.
Same.
Y'all hang around too much. Actually, what's funny is when I do classes, if I have people that come together, Hadley will back me up on this. I make them journey in different parts of the room because they pick up on each other's show up in each other's journeys. It's not. I'm not even kidding. That happened to me. If we have enough time at the end, I'll tell you a very interesting story that happened to me and two friends at a journey class. But your bridge, again, very stable. So it was supporting your journey is what I'm trying to get to. If your bridge had not been built, if your bridge had been very wobbly, that would be designations of your uncertainty, your unwillingness, your hesitation, to go further into the dreamtime worlds. But you guys are rock solid with this, right? Big wood bridges, they're there, they take you across. Who could smell the forest when you were in the forest? Could
I
anybody
sneezed.
smell?
I literally sneezed in my journey.
I'd say that was good.
I could smell it.
Yeah. Yeah. Was everybody able to see the trees? And did anybody have anything happen in the forest or along the way or along the brook or
I had stuff happen along the way. Like immediately when we got there, my power animal showed up.
you
And
journey?
so
You have relationship with certain animals that come.
it was there and it was playing in the long it's a tiger, so it was playing in the tall grass. And then when we were walking along the stream, a rock called to me. I picked it up and it was a piece of amethyst.
So we'll come back to that.
Okay.
We will come back to that. And I'm glad you didn't stop and try to analyze why am I doing this. You just did it.
I
And
just
you moved
picked
on.
it I picked it up, put it in my pocket and kept on. So,
Great. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. Any other things, Morgana? Anything happen along the way?
The problem with me with the brook is seeing shinies in the water. So I kind of got distracted there for a while because, I saw some like real shimmery green stones in one place. And as I walked along, like I said, I do that in real life too. So, there were a lot of different brightly colored stones within the water.
Ooh, see, you should look that up too. What happens if I dream of brightly colored stones? Now, to me, that's a symbol of abundance. The gems are showing themselves to you. But yeah, that's great that you saw some additional things they were not being prompted and you paid attention. This is how Dreamtime works. You just observe, things show up, and then you put the pieces of the puzzle together and bring meaning to it.
And it
So
says, I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
I was just reading. It says that dreaming of colorful stones can represent creativity, inspiration, and imagination. So, and I am starting to get back to that part of myself.
That is awesome. I was going to say, can you relate to it?
Absolutely.
Yes. So, seeing you weren't even asking about that, but that's what Dreamtime is showing you that is available for you.
Yeah.
So we walk through the forest, and we're doing that to wind our way to this beautiful mystical tree that is unique to each of us. And the tree, we're going to look up what trees that we are when we have time. So, Hadley, what kind of tree did you see?
a giant oak. I always see the big oaks.
Stability, wisdom, support, ancient understanding and knowledge, right? Oak trees are like the strongest.
Sorry.
Oak trees. Stephen, what tree did you see?
It was a huge evergreen tree.
Oh, Oh yeah, I know. I just saw it in my head. I know exactly, almost like a big Christmas tree, but like really tall.
Huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge.
Well, and you should look that up right now. Look up what does it mean to dream of an evergreen tree, and then that's going to be the message. Morgana, what did you see?
Cedar.
Oh,
That's
cedar.
what I could smell was the cedar, and I think that's what drew me was that cedar smell.
Well, cedar is protection in where we live in the United States. Red cedar is, well, all cedar is very powerful and medicine oriented. It's very much connected to Native American cultures. They would put cedar over their doorways for protection and honor, help ancestor spirits, etc. But yeah, you should read about that. So each one of you had a different tree. So that has meaning for you in some respect. It's bringing you some knowledge of something or showing you about something about yourself at this point in time. Evergreens go on into eternity, right? They're symbols of immortality and always being there. You know, what does it say, Stephen?
Dreaming about an evergreen tree means that you are enjoying a very faithful friendship, but take care of it if you want it to last. Picking evergreen boughs and making a wreath will find a faithful friend.
Ah,
I wonder if you did that with Bigfoot, what would happen?
hey, there you go. I was going to say, man, you can relate to that, right? See, you
Yeah.
create a
Oh, yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
Create
It's
a
a symbol in true and steady relationships. So, yeah, that was a.
Yeah.
I just want to add this in. Whenever we went through the door and you were telling us about the field of the tall green grass, I thought I was doing it wrong because I was seeing trees in the distance.
And there we were going to the forest.
Yeah. So there we went. So,
See, never question, just
yeah.
sure. There you go. Well, how about the bird that we saw? And I know we're getting close to being running out of time.
We can go over. We can go over. Well, no, you
Oh,
can't, but you.
okay, great. What kind of birds did we see?
Crow.
Raven.
Crow. I know about crow.
Yeah.
Raven.
Yeah.
All of y'all saw crows?
I saw a raven, but that's one of my animals.
Well, me.
I know, right? You've got a bunch
Crows.
more little birds with you.
No wonder we're all so crazy.
Yeah.
So do we all understand what that means? For everybody that's listening, they're like, what are they talking about? But unless you're a crow, you don't know what a crow is.
Yeah.
We are the seers of the unseen. We are able to travel into the dark places. We are able to go into the dream time places and do difficult work where we're able to carry messages across space and time. And crows are very good about protecting themselves, being able to get out of the way of danger. We're good at deflecting. We're good at making jokes and mimicking. We like to collect shiny things. Uh, you know, crows have a lot of. We like to sing or use our voice for sure. Here we all are on a talk show, right?
Squawk, squawk.
Yeah.
There we go. We'll have to come back to that just for ourselves, talking about that. That's very interesting. But if you're listening and you saw an eagle, or maybe you saw a bluebird, I had that in my side view while I was doing the journey, because I can journey and drum too and talk too. But I saw a bluebird. I said, okay, somebody's got a bluebird coming, and yeah. So what bird showed up to bring you a message is important, because that could be a helper for you. That could be a bird that could be bringing you some strength, things that could assist you. Now, how about the gift? Does anybody want to share? Sometimes they're personal, but does anybody want to share what dropped into their hand?
I do, because mine was so weird. Like, at first I thought it was black, like a black stone. And then in my head I hear Apache tear. And so I looked it up, and that's an actual stone that's black.
Oh, it is. It sure is. And it's very good for grief.
Very cool.
It's has many properties, but it's very good for grieving, to help you work through grief or hard times. Stephen, what did you receive? If
Uh,
you want.
It was a rolled up scroll.
Ooh.
Ooh.
What
Did
did
you
it
unroll it
say?
to read it?
What did it say?
I had when I met the person at the bridge. That's when I understood it. So
Oh, I'm sorry. Say that again.
when I met the person at the bridge, that's when I was able to understand
Oh,
what.
I see. Okay. Well,
Ooh.
see, anytime you get a scroll or a book or anything, that's bringing you knowledge. Your gift is bringing you knowledge of something or awareness of something. Morgana, what did you receive as your gift?
A black feather with an ancient coin.
I
And
got a feather when my bird flew off.
mm. See, y'all having the same dream time again because y'all just all know each other. Y'all in the all in
We're
the
just we're just part of the same little pack.
same. You are, you are. But you had a coin. You had a coin with
Yes.
you.
And it's
You
not
see
anything
that.
I recognize. It was very old.
But see,
So,
you know what that's telling me? That you're being reminded that you have the gift of abundance. It's in your lineage. It goes back through all of your lives. You just need to remember that. It's just showing you that. You know what I would do, or I would think about doing if that dream came to me? I would go see if I could find me an ancient coin and carry that with me as a reminder of my abundance.
Yeah.
You know?
because that is easy to forget sometimes.
It is easy. It's easy. We get distracted in this life, and it's purposeful, but that we're being purposely distracted. Well, what about let's get to our question. You asked the question and got an answer, and maybe you understood the answer, or maybe you didn't understand the answer, or who came? Does anybody want to share that?
I hate to keep volunteering. Stephen, you go.
I couldn't see the person clearly enough to determine whether they were man or woman. I don't.
It was a person.
It was a person,
Okay.
or what I believe is a person, but I still don't know if it's man or
Yeah.
woman. For some reason, I couldn't see them clearly. So
But you asked your question, and what did they say?
this may be kind of odd, but I'm supposed to be a light to the world. I guess is kind of my understanding of it. So
You're supposed to be alive to the
A
world.
no,
light.
a light to the world.
Oh,
So
a light
You
to
are
the
a light to
world.
the world, Stephen.
You
uh,
are. You
that's
are. I see. This is big stuff because, and we talk about this. I do go through this all the time with people in soul retrieval. Is that we come into this world, we're unaware of the light that we carry. We think it's outside and we got to get it. We got to look for it and find it, but it's here all the time, and we are so conditionally programmed, uh, and it goes so deep that even if we mentally go, yeah, I'm a light, I'm this or that, inside it's like poser, screaming at you until you can really learn to step into that. But understanding who you are and being able to say, I know who I am, and really resonate that, I think is where, if you haven't gotten there completely, Stephen, you're getting there. So that's the affirmation, step into it. That's part of your purpose, and we need people like you. So you understood the scroll then?
I did. I did after the meeting at the bridge. Yes.
Awesome.
So
So you brought meaning to your journey.
yeah.
You brought meaning to your dream. You see, this is how it works. It only took 5 minutes, right? 6
Yeah.
minutes, something like that,
Right.
to have a very meaningful, impactful experience. Morgana, what was yours? If you don't mind sharing.
I don't mind. My question was, I've been looking at a business venture to start when things settle down from my busy period. And I've just been concerned of whether or not I was on the right path. And I didn't get a person. I got the same crow with a wolf. And my answer was just to look like, you know this. That's the feel I got, was you already know this. So I think it was more validation than anything.
Yeah. Well, now, do you have you have a relationship with Wolf in any way?
I used to have a very strong one. Back, as a matter of fact, when Hadley and I first met, that was a commonality we all had, was that wolf spirit. And I've been seeing it more recently, and I hadn't seen it really in years. I mean, I still love them and everything, but as far as just being able to feel wolf around, it's only been in probably the last 6 months that I've started seeing that again. So.
Well, interestingly, I too am wolf. Medicine.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. What did they say about birds of a feather?
And so that's very well. Look, when something returns to you, that's no small thing. That is no small thing. And so reestablishing that relationship and asking for help and visiting with Wolf and just allowing those messages to come and say, hey, can you help me, or what can you show me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wonderful. Hadley, let me hear it.
Okay. Well, first off, when I was leaving the tree, after I found the feather, I flew out of the tree with my cape. I have a cape of feathers, and I used those to get down from the tree. And so that was interesting. And then when I got to the bridge, there's a man there, but it's the same man that was in my soul retrieval journey with you, that helped me go to the other places. And so I asked him my question, and I can't hear him. So I got very frustrated, and I was like, I don't know if I'm trying too hard to hear, but I can't hear. Why can't I hear him? And it was just very frustrating, but it was great to see him. And it was the same with the raven. I haven't really seen ravens in a while. So it was all about, and even when when the tiger showed up, it was all about, it's so good to see you. I've missed you so much, and that feeling of warmth that came with that. So I just thought that was kind of cool, that it was that same dude, and I recognized him.
Yeah, he's probably been like, where have you been?
Well, that was another thing when we were entering the forest and going. You were like, go this way, but there's a house, and I know where the house is, and I was trying to go to the house, but there's a house in the woods that I go and stay at sometimes when I'm out traveling.
Well, you're a more experienced journeyer, and for more experienced journeyers, sometimes it's hard to follow somebody else's guidance because you're already wanting to go where you know to go. So I would say go back again and meet your friend, the guide who helped you before, and ask again. Ask your question again. And I will tell you this too, and this is for everybody listening. This is not some magical thing. Yes, magical things happen, but that's not what happens here. It is relationship. And the more powerful your relationship, the easier it is to get help. Sometimes we are in our own way. And I can tell you this is true for anything, not just shamanic journeying. But when we are frantic or desperate or in a state of anxiety or something, we rarely will get an answer. You have to let go of outcome and begin to accept trust and just let things play out. I remember one journey that I did early in my training, and I was in a desperate place in my life. I had some things going on, and I was like, you've got to tell me what to do. What do I need to do? And the only thing any of my helpers would say, or power animals would say, is patience, patience. And so I would come out of that going, what the hell? Every every time they tell me this, every time they tell me, what am I supposed to be doing? And it would just say patience. Okay, fine. But what I wasn't hearing is I was being frustrated that answer. I wasn't being patient. I had to literally be patient and sort of give up on it before I was relaxed enough for the frequency to come through. I literally could not be patient because I was so frantic. When we're in that state, when we're in the desperation mode, the answers will not come until we can relax about it. And that may seem impossible, but that isn't how it works. And so what I would do, if you're at that place, take your drum or put on a drumming track and just and let it do its thing. Don't try to figure out what's happening. Don't get frustrated and say, I didn't understand what you meant by that. Just say, okay, I'm going to trust that I'm going to know what to do when the time is right and carry on one step at a time.
That's not
It's
always
not
easy.
a fun thing to do, but it definitely is the only thing you can do.
Yeah.
So, well, this is fun.
I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So, for anybody that may be listening to this, I wanted to say that if you are interested in learning this in a classroom situation where I take you through many more details and much more practice on this, all you have to do is email my new son energyworks@gmail.com and say, I'm interested in a journey class with you. And depending, because I do my classes by private invitation. So if you are listening to Weird Realities Network and you're interested in doing this, send me an email and we'll talk about getting you an invitation for attending a journey class. And if you're listening to Weird Realities Network, then you'll get a discount
Ooh.
class.
Awesome. That's wonderful.
newsunenergyworks@gmail.com.
I'm putting it, I don't know if y'all can see it. Can you see it?
I can't right now.
Yeah,
Now?
I see it.
Okay.
I see it. Cool.
Well, I've had the greatest time these 4 episodes, and I appreciate so much all of you allowing me this platform to talk about things that are so meaningful to me. It's changed my life, being able to understand how to live in a shamanic way, bringing meaning to my life every day, and enjoying the magical world that we live in that's been gifted to us. And I hope to see you guys again soon.
Well, Tracy, it is always a pleasure, and I need to come visit you more often.
Yeah.
So
I
let
thought
me
you
let me
will.
know when you don't have anything going on and you just want to like have a glass of tea.
That won't happen.
I know.
Something going on.
No,
As
thank
you know.
so much
But
for sharing.
you just give me a call sometime, Hadley.
Yeah.
If we're going to. Stephen too. Stephen, come see me.
Someday I'll get to go that way.
We're trying to drag them all over here.
I've once I get my life back together, I'm planning on doing a Weird Realities gathering in Mississippi.
That
Yeah.
sounds great.
It will be the chosen few who are invited, but we will plan on getting together and doing a big drum circle and having some fun.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah. I've enjoyed this, and Tracy, it's well. I'd love for Hadley to have you back sometime. That'd be
Anytime. I'd love it.
Well, just let us know when the next time you want to do another series, or if you want to do something, just pop on and talk about weird stuff. You know, we're around.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll just have an episode on people that have crow medicine.
Wouldn't that be awesome? All the little crows come together.
Everybody has to have crow medicine that watches.
Well, I'm going to tell y'all, my nickname as a child was Heather Feather. And so feathers always are something that I associate with me. But when my first internet, like when you first got your AOL account, mine was Peeks Through Feathers.
I used to have that address.
Yep. Peeks Through Feathers.
It's funny. Dragonfly is one of my animals, and I literally was standing outside at my office one day, and one landed in front of me on my car and died. I mean, that was the end of its life. So I took it inside, and it sat on my desk for probably a year and a half, and then we got mice in the building, and one of those damn mice stole my dragonfly. but I mean, just the feeling that came over me when that dragonfly just landed right there, and everything was huge.
Did you hear about those millions of dragonflies that were on the beach like last week?
No, I didn't. I'm glad to hear it because I don't see as many dragonflies now as I used to when I was younger.
This was on the East Coast, but they were. I mean, people were screaming. It was like locusts in the plague. It was that many, and it was just thousands of them.
Oh yeah, I used to. It was fun.
Sort of a frequency thing that caused them all to herd up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Morgana, when that dragonfly died on your arm, it was passing its power to you.
Ooh.
Like I said, I've had that attachment. I've got a dragonfly on my back. Yeah, that's one of those
Transformation. Dragonflies are very powerful.
Yep.
Very
Love dragonflies.
powerful.
And I don't like bugs. I'm not a bug person. I'm not an insect person. But I absolutely love dragonflies. And it's one of those things even now. I mean, I have them come and land on my hand when I'm outside, and everything. So they're constantly letting me know they're there. Even when things are really bad, I can always count on a dragonfly showing up to say it's okay. So.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And Stephen had Bigfoot land on him.
Yes.
He's gonna give Bigfoot a Christmas wreath, and everything's gonna be great.
Do that. You need to buy some little Bigfoot dolls, little toys, little things. Make your wreath and put Bigfoots all over them. So you hang it outside, and I bet you anything that they'll come.
I have to try that.
I bet they will. Call out to them, go to Dreamtime, Stephen, do a journey into Dreamtime and meet Bigfoot.
I want to hear about this, Stephen. I want to know all the details.
Yes, begin your relationship with Bigfoot because he will, or she will, or however they appear, will talk to you in a different sort of way than they do now. And they'll show you stuff too.
Yep.
Yeah. Hang on.
Yeah. You could do like the ancient medicine people, and Bigfoot might show you where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Might say, "Hey, come find me. Here's where you need to go."
Well, I thought of you the other day, Stephen, because I saw a guy standing on like a bus, and he had a T-shirt on, and it said, "I believe in you. Don't get too excited because I believe in Bigfoot too." So, I'm like, okay, I've got to get Stephen that shirt.
Well, for years when people would make fun of people who believe in Bigfoot, I would always say, well, I mean, you don't make fun of the people who believe in aliens, and now they were right all this time, and I'm just waiting for Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's
They exist.
Well, it's just like people say that those big cats don't exist, but they do.
Oh yeah, they do. They're real.
Yep. People just don't talk about it.
Well, if you don't talk about it, it'll go away.
Well, we have gone over, and I know Tracy has to get up in the morning. So
I do. I got to get up very, very early tomorrow, unfortunately. But
Thank
Deanna,
you so
much. And good journey time, good dream time to all of your listeners. And I hope to see you guys again soon. Thank you for having me so much. Appreciate it.
thanks,
Thank
Tracy.
you.
Have the rest of your weekend.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for this week's show. For notifications each time the Weird Realities Network goes live, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. You can expect fresh weirdness 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a week. But before we depart, let me give a special shout out to our incredible patrons, Mike Lewis, Landis Aldana, and Alan Lassiter. We couldn't keep the lights on here at Weird without you. And a very special thanks to our partners that keep Weird Reality spinning. It's you guys who make our weird world go round. And if you're interested in supporting our endeavors, consider joining the Cabal of Weird over at Patreon. And keeping you entertained and bringing you new content is our goal with every cent that you donate. And if you are interested in partnering or sponsoring, be sure to send us an email at weirdrealities@gmail.com. We are always interested in making new friends and creating a new tapestry of strangeness with you. So, until next week, kids, stay weird, you beautiful weirdos.